If you look at this chart, it shows spouse ethnicity, who they marry, okay? And they got a bunch of different races. If you make it bigger to show it, it's actually very interesting. So the red, if you look at the right, red is white ethnicity, black is blue, then you got Hispanic is green, Chinese, you see the whole thing. And then on the top left, it shows white marrying a white male. Okay, guess what? 86% of the time. A white male marrying a white female, they go for a white male. 88% of the time, 12% of the time, they don't. Black to black, you see the blue is blue. Okay, so black male marry 21% of the time white females, but black females, 19% of the time, marry white males. Hispanics is Hispanic, except for 22 to 28%, 26%, they marry whites. Chinese is majority Chinese. Many Chinese male do not marry white females, only 11% of the time, but the Chinese female, 29% of the time, will marry a white female, white male. Then you have the Indians predominantly with Indians, although Indian males will marry white females versus Indian females won't marry white males as much. Filipinos is Filipino. Filipino female is actually the third highest of what white males will marry. They'll marry white males, Filipino. And then you have Japanese, and then you have Hispanics. So Latinos are the highest. 46% of the time, they will get a white husband. The lowest one here is, which you may actually get excited about, is Pakistani females don't marry too many white men. Although you may want that. You may want a lot of interracial marriages with Pakistani female.
Not really.
In your church.
Not particularly.
Not particularly. It's interesting when you see this. I married a white girl from Texas, and I'm obviously, Middle Eastern, Armenian, Assyrian,
but you're Christian.
But I'm Christian. I mean, and
that's
no
the highest.
compromise.
I'm not a race essentialist.
Yeah.
I'm a religious essentialist.
You're a Christian nationalist.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So religion comes first. Race is not everything, but it's also not nothing. And that's where liberalism lies to us.
Right. Values, principles, understanding, culture, all of that matter. And when you see a lot of these commercials, every commercial is a white man with a black girl or a black man with a white man, and they're trying to do that a little bit too much. By the way, I want to show you a clip of Seth Rogen.
Real quick, can I say what I think the point of that is? Because they'll do black man and black woman, and they'll do Hispanic man and Hispanic woman. But if it's white, it's black, black man, white woman. Or it could be two white people, but they're both dudes, or they're both chicks, right? It's gay or lesbian. To me, I can't help but think, when I think, what's the purpose? Every single relational arrangement you could possibly even conceive of is represented in television, in media, entertainment, except for the one biological, right? Not just relational, but biological arrangement that produces white kids. I think they just hate white people. I think they want less white people. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think white or conservative white. They don't mind the liberal white.
That's true.
They don't mind the liberal white. They mind the conservative white. That's where the problem. They love Tallarico. He's white, but he's a liberal. That's their hero. That's their next Obama, even though he's not black.
I'm in Texas. I see the sign.
He's everywhere. Yeah, he's everywhere. We'll see what happened there. I want you to watch this clip of Seth Rogen with Stephen Bartlett from Diary of CEO. And in this context, they're talking about having kids. And as they get older, did they regret not having kids? Or, do they sit there and say, we made the right decision, and you're someone who's got 5 kids, 4 girls, a son, and one on the way is going to be the 6th. I want you to watch this clip. Go for it.
Reference earlier, you don't have any kids. I do not. That has helped me succeed as well. Definitely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's a whole huge thing I'm not doing, which is raising children.
People, obviously, someone will be listening, but yeah, but it'll make you happier. Someone might say that. I'm trying to rebuttal.
I don't think it would. I've been around, obviously, a lot of children. I'm not ignorant to what it's like to. I've seen everyone I know has kids. I see. I'm 40 again. It's not. I know. I've some of my friends have had kids for decades. Some people want kids. Some people don't want kids. A lot of people have kids before they even think about it. From what I've seen, honestly, you just are told. You go through life. You get married. You have kids. It's what happens. And me and my wife were just, neither of us were like that. And honestly, the older we get, the more happy and reaffirmed we are with our choice to not have kids. It was something we kind of talked about more, and we're like, have we made the right choice? Are we sure? Now, if more than anything, the conversation is honestly, thank God we don't have children.
Yeah. Thank God. Do you even think he believes in God?
Of course not. So first, Jarvis, pull up an early life check on Seth Rogen. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
But then second, here's where he's fundamentally wrong, right out of the gate. The whole conversation has to do with his own personal happiness. Screw your happiness, right? Screw your freedom, right? We shouldn't say that, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but screw your happiness. Here's the deal. Everyone is living their lives as though their happiness is somehow the goal. This is where I think even America, and I love our founding, but I do think that one of the things that was baked into the pie from the beginning that did allow for some of the problems we have today is the exaltation of liberty above duty, virtue. It's not about, I did not have children because I thought they would make me happy. Here's the thing. God is so merciful and kind. Turns out I was wrong, and so is he. He would be happier, and I am so much happier having children. But before I had kids, it terrified me. I didn't say, babe, we've got to have kids as soon as possible because I'm not happy and they'll make me happy. No. I was under the delusion. I was deceived. I thought this is going to be so hard. It's going to be so much work. It's going to cost so much money, even as a Christian.
The other way around. So your concern was how hard it's going to be.
That's right. That was my concern. But then why did I do it? Why did I do it? Because I knew it was right. It wasn't about my happiness. Now, here's the thing. I was wrong. It actually made me happy because the right thing that God requires also ends up being the good thing that makes the heart of man glad. Because God is not capricious. He's not arbitrary. He doesn't just randomly randomly say, these are the tenets of morality, and they also, consequently, conveniently, are the very things that will make you miserable and sad. No, God is a good God, a kind and loving God. The things that he says these are holy are also the things that make us happy. But I was delusional. I was deceived, thinking this is not going to make me happy. But I did it anyways. Why? Because duty trumped delight. Because virtue trumped liberty. I knew that having children was important for the world, for society, for the kingdom of God, to raise up godly offspring. The Genesis commands, be fruitful and multiply. I understand some people biologically can't have kids, right? So I'm not saying that they're in sin. But ordinarily, speaking in norms, ordinarily, it is good and fitting and right and even obligatory, if we're Christians, reading the Bible, that we seek to make disciples, and our first disciples are the little disciples in our home, that we seek to be fruitful and multiply with the wife of our youth, that the overflow of our love produces the fruit of the womb, and that we raise them in the fear and admonition of the Lord, that they are arrows. The Psalms say the children are like arrows that a man, a father, will one day shoot out. The greatest arsenal, the greatest weaponry, going all the way back to the topic of power, the most powerful thing I have that will ultimately conquer my enemies are my 6 children who will be raised in the fear and admonition of the Lord and will do immense damage, like arrows, like a battering ram up against the gates of hell. So I had kids because I must have them, not just because I wanted to have them. And now I can't imagine life without them. Seth Rogen is wrong. He's wrong because he's selfish, because he's arrogant, because he's a pothead, right? All these reasons, we know this. But he's also wrong because he starts with the wrong premise. I don't know if kids would make me happy. Who cares about your happiness?
Somebody may say, what do you mean, who cares about my happiness?
God cares about your happiness.
Yeah.
But
the liberal argument may be like, it's my life. I get to do what I want to do in my life. I don't want to have kids. I want to spend time with my wife, and I want to be doing my thing. Why should I have kids, Joel? This is exactly why I don't like the Bible-thumping pastors out there telling me to go have kids and live for somebody else and not for myself. I don't want to do that. Why is there anything wrong with that?
because God wrote a book. This isn't my opinion. I have lots of opinions, and we've talked about some of them today. This one ain't one of my opinions. This is not subjective. God in heaven wrote a book, and that book is true whether Joel Webben was ever born or not. And in that book, one of the first commandments he gives to his image-bearing creatures is to be fruitful and multiply. Because one of the end games, the eschaton of man here on earth and heavenly life in eternity, is that God's image-bearing creatures would so fill the earth, emulating Christ to all of the cosmos, to the world, that they would be born and multiply, but also shaped and forged more and more into the image of God through catechism, discipleship, gospel, all these things. Why should you do it? Because God says so. And that's a good reason. That's a sufficient reason. God wrote a book and he said so.
Yeah, well, let's see if anything will happen. Can you pull up Seth Rogen's wife? Do you know who his wife is?
No.
I don't know who his wife is.
I don't really follow actors, you know.
I thought for a second you were like a big Seth Rogen guy. I was maybe speculating again.
No, I'm usually not a big on potheads. No.
Lauren Miller, is she a Hollywood person? Is she an actress? I don't know if she is. Maybe she is. Oh, she was in Superbad. Okay, and Zach. All right, so they're in the same world. They're both coming from Hollywood, and that's their life. So the chances of them having kids together, by the way, they've been together. Respect to them. They've been together for 23 years.
That for Hollywood, that is
unbelievable.
Yeah, no, that beats the odds.
So if you're together 23 years, and 23 years later you still decide not to have kids,
I think you're wrong. I still think they're wrong.
Yeah.
But you are right. The fact that they've lasted together for 23 years for Hollywood, that's pretty good.
Have you watched the recent movie Citizen Vigilante?
No.
Have you seen this movie or no?
No.
Okay. It's a low budget movie, couple $1 million. Uwe Boll makes this movie. It is officially the #1 movie, I believe, on Amazon and Apple.
Really?
And it has created so much chaos. We don't even need to play the clip, but it's created so much